You won't believe this, but I just woke up a superpowered ability called S-Class. With endless magic flowing through me, I'm about to become unstoppable and have every girl bowing down to me. But at the start of my story, things were different because everyone looked down on me since my magic only worked for mages and healers. I was just a humble hunter with level 29 under my belt. So, in every fight, I was forced to just stand there and watch everything happen. I was just the team's secret weapon when their mages ran out of magic. Then, I'd walk over to plug them back in. I could have refilled the mage's mana to help him smash the boss, but instead of saying thanks, they just treated me like a tool. My boss told me I didn't do much today, so I need to help gather the useful parts from him. I felt it was unfair, but I had no choice but to listen and go along with it anyway. A nearby teammate scoffed. Isn't that guy part of the combat team? Why does he have to do logistics work too? I heard he's got just one superpower. He can make magic as strong as he wants. Even though it's an S-class skill, it's useless. Healers can refill their own magic without needing anyone else to help. All he does is make it zoom by even quicker. This power only kicks in when you need a ton of magic to win the big fight against the boss today. When hunting the normal monsters, it really doesn't work. Even after 5 years of hunting, he still hasn't reached level 30. I had to swallow my pride and listen in silence while they laughed at me. I thought that the moment I hit level 30, everything would change. Back at the Great Sage Guild, I heard the worst news. They told me, Sono, no one wants to team up with you anymore. And since you're only level 29, you can't clear dungeons by yourself. After talking it over, we agreed to move you to the business team so you could put your talents to good use. If I can't even clear those dungeons, then what was all my hard work for? In the end, I made the hard choice to walk away. But what no one knew was that my power went way beyond just creating endless magic. To my shock, my special talent had already started waking up even before I became a hunter. The moment my power kicked in, a window popped up right before my eyes. As soon as I clicked copy, that pop-up vanished and became a meal right in my hand. I thought that power was amazing until I truly got it and saw just how awful its downsides were. The moment those copied things left me, they melted into glowing rivers of light and disappeared. The worst part was that the stolen gear still had limits on how strong it was. You couldn't copy anything that was too powerful for you because it just wouldn't work. It was a strange thing because the magic power he copied refused to vanish. You could also pass it on to others to use. Because of this, people misunderstood my real talent and started calling it infinite magic. Even as I copied the skills of others, I was held back by a bunch of tricky conditions. Suddenly, a news alert flashed onto my phone screen. The Klesia Dragon Sword would be showcased in that island nation, a long blade with 2 special skill slots and a defense boost that instantly raised any wielder's sword level to 200 the moment they grabbed it, even though it only required level 30 to use. But that legendary divine sword had a big flaw. It only had 10 points of durability before it would shatter. But I didn't care if it broke, because I could copy it forever. I had to hit level 30 in 7 days just to grab that sword. So, I joined a team put together just for this mission, to conquer the Giant King's spider dungeon. I was hiding behind the mage, sometimes giving a boost to the rude blonde guy. Every time he refilled his mana, he'd wildly unleash his ultimate attacks without worrying about ever running out. But I didn't care anymore. All I cared about was gaining enough experience to level up. Senior Sono, who was still checking his status, realized this was Ikona, a member of the Great Sage Guild. He was younger than me, even though I, the older one, was struggling to get by. I heard he didn't have enough money, so he joined these temporary teams to earn cash when he had free time. Before long, we stepped right into the boss's room. The boss was a level 80 Giant King spider. The air feels heavy with tension, and I can't help but wonder if we can actually win this fight while my heart races with fear. Ienaga sees my fear and tries to calm me, telling me not to worry and to stay hidden in the back. Crushing the giant Spider King is easy, just don't get tangled in its sticky web, or it will be hard to get free. And if those spider eggs get hurt, the Giant King spider goes absolutely wild, making the nearby blonde guy impatient and shout, Ienaga, stop explaining to the crowd and just start already. With that, he angrily stomped a tiny pebble at his feet. But the stone suddenly bumps into a strand of spider silk. The huge Spider King feels the movement right away. A huge roar erupts as it charges everyone, and you're left cursing the mage for what just happened. Our tank bravely blocked the attack and sliced off one of the boss's legs, so don't just stand there, everyone attack. As everyone swings their weapons and rushes at the boss with their best moves, I stay hidden behind them, quietly yelling for my team to win. But then, disaster strikes anyway. Just as the Giant King spider weaves with its silk, that airhead girl starts acting reckless again. He throws a huge burst of fire straight at the nest. The boss walks away unharmed because the silk protects him, but the spider eggs in the nest are wiped out. As soon as the giant spider king sees this, he goes absolutely crazy and shoots out thousands of silks in an instant. Everyone is trapped and tangled in the silks before they can run, and I'm baffled because my flames won't burn through them. The giant king's spider slowly creeps toward the blonde man, drawn by his loud shouting. Only then does he realize how foolish he has been, so scared that his heart nearly stops. She screamed and vanished from this world, leaving me trembling with fear. I'm wrapped in silk and can't move at all. So who's going to rescue me? The huge king spider is turning its attention to me next. Staring right into the monster's face, I feel total hopelessness because this simple dungeon turned into a nightmare. I won't go along with this. Are you ready to copy and paste? Every time I'm about to die, my special power kicks in on its own. It creates a duplicate of who I was right before. Even though my old body vanishes, this new life of mine doesn't solve the trouble I'm in. The boss killed me again. The moment I wake up, I dive for cover, realizing this plan isn't working and panicking over my next move. Right in the middle of my struggle, a faint voice calls out for help. It's Akona, which means he's still alive, but I can hardly defend myself right now. The boss keeps getting closer, and if I don't do something econ right now, I'm going to die for sure. Damn it. How can I, as senior, just stand by and let a junior get killed? I charge forward with my sword and heavily strike the boss's foot right before he launches his attack. The gun kicks so hard it sends me crashing to the floor. Luckily, the boss's strike bounces right off because of this. Just then, a pop-up popped up announcing that you had reached level 30. I stare at the system panel, completely baffled by what I'm seeing. I don't know what's going on, but somehow I suddenly got stronger. Did my last move actually work? Or was I just killed by the boss again, even though I haven't been able to rest for days? Control 5? Are you kidding me? Now that I can hurt you, I won't keep running away. Even if I have to die over and over again, I will still find a way to beat you. After 3 sleepless days and nights of fighting, I died 50 times and broke nearly every weapon my team had, but my level finally went up, which is great news. Now the boss looks just as battered as the rest of us. I slip away from the boss's silk strike just as the fight is about to end. When it strikes me again, I'll snatch the chance to fight back. I spring onto its huge leg, hold my sword high, and thrust forward die. I pour every ounce of my strength into a slash at the boss's head, only to watch my sword snap in half. That's the price of buying fake stuff, and now I'm so dizzy from the cheap quality that I lose my balance and crash hard to the ground. Just as I thought the boss was going to finish me, the spot I hit suddenly cracked and the crack spread all over his body. Suddenly, a boom erupts and the boss explodes into a million tiny fragments. At this moment, Sono lies helpless on the ground, gasping for air while I finally feel I've made it. Suddenly, a flurry of pop-up windows flashes across the screen, announcing that you've leveled up. You've earned the giant king spider's prize. After catching my breath, I lift Ekanagasu and get ready to exit the dungeon. But then, a surprise attack strikes us out of nowhere. My eyes dart forward, filled with sheer terror. A horde of level 30 spider offspring is breaking out, and while I'm okay, Ayanagasu is still in the fight. With so many spiders coming at him, all I can do is throw my body in the way, but right as they pounce, a miracle happens. As the front spider snaps in half, a figure jumps right in front of me. As hundreds of spiders charge at him, the mysterious figure just lifts his weapon and unleashes a terrifying blast of hellfire that turns them all to ash in an instant. Hellfire is the most powerful fire magic in the world, and only a tiny few people can ever use it. If I'm right, there's just one person living in that island country. Is it Hunter Nenesi, the 5th-ranked hunter from the island nation, who wields a witch's blade with magic? She asks if you and your friend are the only ones left alive, staring at the bodies of powerful hunters spread out on the ground. Low-level Sono not only survived the boss fight, but also saved a teammate, making Nessie wonder what exactly happened as she asked, "How did you manage this?" Back at the Island Nation Hunter Association headquarters, to everyone's surprise, the director of Dungeon Immigration Management just happens to be Hunter Nessie. After asking just a few questions, Nessie tells me, "This is the giant king spider's silk," and she adds that I will hand over the other treasures from the dungeon later. If there's no other business, you're free to leave. I can't believe it was this easy. Since our team wasn't registered, leaving now would be a crime. She says that unregistered teams risk innocent lives every day by sneaking into dangerous dungeons for their own gain. The group has quietly let this action go on without saying a word. Hearing the answer, I let out a long breath of relief and stand up to go. Nessie grabs a strand of spider silk and yells after me, reminding me that I seem to have forgotten this. "No need at all. Please give this and whatever else I've earned to my junior." I shut the door and head out. Nanesi stares at the spider silk in her hand, puzzled, wondering what exactly this guy is hiding. Stepping through the door, I finally let go. I smirked with a triumphant grin, feeling a surge of victory as I realized I had finally succeeded. I've got an endless supply of spider silk at my fingertips. The giant king spider spits sticky webbing with a strength rating of 40. I'm scratching my head in disbelief after slaying the boss, only to end up with this strange item. I copied it first, but the instant my finger touched it, the spider silk melted away right before my eyes. I stood there totally baffled, wondering what on earth had just happened. The system buzzed with a message. The giant king spider's silk had been soaked up by my new power, and now I've unlocked a special ability to control it. I stared in shock at the message on my screen, realizing that my special ability now let me copy anything I controlled. I used Ctrl+V to paste them, and since my skill was just starting at level 1, it offered me 3 choices. It felt like magic when I realized my skills had suddenly gotten much better than I ever imagined. I quickly tapped the 3 new shortcuts for Ctrl+C. A new pop-up showed 3 choices. Paste your objects and keep them for a while, stitch any items together within a set time, or cut the giant king spider's silk. It was a huge shock to discover that the copies of things I made would now stay around instead of vanishing the moment I let go. First, I decided to try copying the spider silk for a whole minute. As expected, it didn't disappear once it left my palm. Just as the minute was up, the spider silk vanished exactly as planned. I was on my way to riches, and I started wondering if I could just make the timer run for 1,000 or 10,000 years so the thing would never ever vanish. Thinking about how much gold we could find in the dungeon made me burst out laughing. From this day forward, I am a wealthy man, and the finest life is waiting just for me. Meanwhile, a giant truck raced across the Rainbow Bridge, carrying the legendary Kata Dragon Sword. Mal Grant, a level 112 fighter, and Ri Hugh, a level 131 mage, both members of the International Hunter Association, made up the transport team. This was meant to be the final stop for the sword show. Mal asked Ares, "So do you plan to take a vacation after we're done? Or do you want to explore the island nation's dungeons instead? I hope you find some treasure this time." Ares, however, wasn't amused and snapped that meddling in others' affairs only brings trouble. Suddenly, the radio crackled with news that we were now deep inside the Rainbow Bridge dungeon. We'll be losing our connection for a few minutes because the dungeon's magic is messing with our signals. Hearing this, Maul looked out the window, where the dungeon perched on the sea seemed strangely romantic to him. Yet, Ares couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Rainbow Bridge dungeon, 2 hunters stood guard at the immigration office, with one grumbling that the job was boring while the other scoffed at the rookie's ungrateful attitude. You need to know that just 3 weeks ago, something huge happened right here. Right then, something weird rolled right up to their feet. When he took a closer look, he realized it was just a slimy blob. Shinoda Satoru quickly bent down to grab it, then grinned and said, "It's even cuter than the ones we find in dungeons." Fireball's face twisted in shock as he stared at the monster, wondering how it had managed to appear outside the dungeon. Suddenly, a figure popped into view right beside them. Fireball spun around in fear, just in time to see a giant goblin swinging a club at them, and blood sprayed everywhere. And, at this very moment, I was still standing at the Hunter Association. I studied my info panel, proud that my years of dungeon fighting had nearly brought me to level 50. Reaching level 50 would finally let me join forces to tackle the toughest dungeons. Just as I was quietly getting ready to cash in on my special power, a pack of hunters rushed right past me. The hurry talk made it clear the Rainbow Bridge dungeon was acting strange and was on red alert. And right there on the bridge sat the truck holding the Kishia Dragon Sword. My jaw dropped when I realized the Kishia Dragon Sword was right there in front of me. Up on the Hunter Association's roof, a bunch of planes were already waiting there. All the hunters from the association had gathered together, ready to lend a hand. Then, Hunter Nanny steps forward. She declares that saving the people is the most important thing, while keeping the Kishia Dragon Sword safe is just a side job. Just as Nanis is about to board her plane, she notices some strange activity in the distance. She peers closer and sees that I'm shamelessly trying to keep up with her. I shouted for Hunter Nanny to let me join, so I could help save more people and guide citizens to safety. Nana looks totally surprised when she sees me. She recalls my mysterious survival and how I helped her little one, so she agrees to let me come along. I learned from other hunters that the Rainbow Bridge dungeon feels strange again, even though they just put down a riot there 3 weeks ago. Honestly, nothing surprises us anymore. Even when a crumbling dungeon falls down, we just have to stop it from falling again. We must make sure the terrible events of 15 years ago never happen again. Back then, global disaster struck all at once, causing national dungeons to crumble because too many monsters were left unchecked and the dungeons became dangerously overcrowded. In those days, monsters poured out of the dungeons and into the cities, swarming the streets and turning peaceful towns into instant hells. I made it through the disaster, but I lost my mom and dad. And that's when a creature from another world showed up and cursed me with the ability to copy and paste. The being said the curse was actually a gift, but with a 20-year timer that I'm still not sure counts down my skills or my life. There's still 5 years to go before that deadline arrives. If that creature's look is linked to the big disaster, then we know the trouble will return in 5 years right when it comes back to life. Now that I've found a way to grow stronger, I know that becoming the greatest hunter will stop the next global disaster and finally break the curse holding me down. Right now, the Rainbow Bridge is a total mess. Explosions echo in the distance as Shinoda Satoru watches helplessly while countless monsters overwhelm the citizens, proving that we desperately need more hunters to stand against them. Suddenly, a goblin jumps out from behind and strikes. Shinoda spins around and slashes with his sword, taking care of it. But right as he finishes, a goblin jumps out from behind and strikes him from the back. Luckily, the fiery hero Fireball, whom we met earlier, rushes in to save him. "Thank you," Shinoda says, admitting. "You saved me twice today. Without your help earlier, I would have died," while the other person looks down on him as just a lucky insider. But Shinoda silently vows to repay that kindness, and Fireball urges them to hurry to the bridge and meet the rescue team. While everything else is calm, a huge monster in the middle of Rainbow Bridge is smashing into a truck. It turns out to be a massive, level 190 bear. One hunter asks Aras if the truck is truly safe, and she tells the worried Maul not to fear, knowing he is just anxious. My protection magic is so strong that not even a level 400 monster could break through my defenses. But then something weird happens. The whole bridge starts shaking and swaying wildly. As everyone stared in shock at the impossible sight, realizing that not even the toughest defenses could hold, the Hunter Association support plane finally broke through the clouds and landed right on the scene. This can't be right, as the ultimate boss of the Rainbow Bridge dungeon should never be here. Out of the water, a huge dragon-like monster suddenly jumps out. All the units stood ready to charge forward. Suddenly, the boss blasts the bridge with a stream of fiery dragon breath. The attack hits so fast that everything around it is swallowed up immediately. Suddenly, a big part of the Rainbow Bridge disappears, leaving just the boss floating alone on the sea. From up in the plane, I watch this happen with pure fear. The boss looks like he's watching us from above. It opens its mouth wide, getting ready to strike again. Then, another huge dragon blasts fire out. A few moments later, the plane blows up and everyone leaps clear to escape the blast. The dungeon boss shows up out of nowhere and everyone's plans change instantly. All the hunters are getting ready to bring down the boss, so they rush to gather their friends and allies. Nia then calls upon her magic, and hellfire pours endlessly from her sword. With a loud shout, the blade unleashes a storm of blazing hellfire blasts that fly straight at the boss. Meanwhile, Sono lets a spider silk do its job and land him safely. Now, the main goal is to hit the Kia Dragon Sword. As Sono moves forward, he finds many dead monsters but sees no hunters around. As he presses forward, a loud shout rings out, "Run!" while Shinoda Satoru fights off monsters right in front of him. Behind him lies a badly hurt Fireball, shouting that they must flee now or face death, but Shinoda Satoru won't leave his friend behind. "Idiot, do you know why low-level monsters appear in high-level dungeons?" Fireball shouts. They swarm together, matching the strength of top-tier beasts, so if you don't run now, it will be too late. But by then, it was already too late. These level 15 wolf demons might seem weak on their own, but when they hunt together in packs, they become as strong as the toughest monsters. Tall behind them, a horde of wolf demons is closing in. Still, Shinoda Satoru feels no regrets, for after his senior protected him once, he will now step up to guard them. Sono watches from a distance, remembering a time he saved a younger version of himself, and his steps stop again. Out of nowhere, a pack of wolf demons jumps out and surrounds them. Shinoda Satoru fights hard to hold back, but there are just too many monsters for him to beat. Right when the wolf demon lunges at Shinoda Satoru, Sono crashes into the scene and tackles the monster away. Sono asks if he's okay, and though sure not Satoru is shocked by the sudden visit, his fear remains deep inside. A pack of wolf demons is closing in on him. "Thanks for the help," Shinoda Satoru says, urging us to leave while that dangerous pack of demons lingers, yet Sono just stands there quietly. A small smile touched his face as he asked, "Oh, really? Perfect. Sure not, Storu is confused by the words, just as a pack of wolf demons leaps at him, but Sano calmly opens his system panel and stays totally cool. Suddenly, Sono finds herself swallowed up by the whole pack of wolf demons. Sure not, Shituru froze in terror at what he saw, until suddenly a web of spider silk wrapped around every wolf demon and pulled them apart, letting Sono step free from the pack. The spider silk kept tightening around the demons like a vice, creating a spectacular scene that left Shinoda Satoru staring in shock until a system notification chimed, signaling his power had just leveled up. What kind of special trick was that? He took down a huge bunch of monsters all at once. But now Sano was stuck with a tough choice. If he leaves the two of them here, monsters will likely attack them again. Sono knew he had serious things to handle and couldn't just haul two others along, so he was left with only one choice to make. Then, Sono reached into his pocket and pulled out a bottle filled with bright red liquid. Fireball grabbed the bottle, looking puzzled, but Sono quickly explained that this mid-level potion could heal his wounds. Fireball was stunned by this news and asked why someone would give him something so precious. Since it's the senior's job to see the juniors back safely, they have to do it. Shinoda Storu felt his heart leap instantly. Thank you so much, he said with a promise to repay her kindness, while Sono stood ready to go. Sato suddenly turned to Storu with a goofy grin, joking that if he wanted to repay her, she should ask for directions to the International Hunter Association's transport, since she clearly had a terrible sense of direction, leaving Satoru stunned that his savior was so lost. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Rainbow Bridge, a group of strange folks were sprinting toward the middle. The boss showed up when no one expected it, and if they made a single mistake, they would lose everything because Nace and the group had to bring the boss down quickly to stop the dungeon from getting worse. They hatched a plan to grab the Kessia dragon sword, while everyone else wasn't looking. Back at Rainbow Bridge, where the giant monster bear was still attacking wildly, Ares threw another spell to make it sleep. The giant bear hit the ground and fell asleep right away. Someone wondered if they should put him back to sleep, noting that while he is a hunter, he seems to be a pacifist. Suddenly, a round iron ball flew at them, but Maul spotted it just in time. With a single swing, he split the flying iron ball right in half. Maul said he knew you'd come, and this had happened several times during the Come Out Bandits touring exhibition. Suddenly, a group of people in black cloaks stepped out of the shadows, and one of them with keen senses challenged, "I'd really like to spar with you," before leaping forward. Maul swung his sword up fast to stop the blow. "Don't ever look down on the guard's job," Maul warned. Maul swung his sword, but his opponent slipped away easily and stepped back. Maul chased right after them, but Ares yelled for him to stop, and it was already too late. In an instant, Maul's body went limp and blood began to spray out. "What's going on?" he cried out. Ares sprinted over and explained that the guys had used poison pills which stop anyone from absorbing magic once they are poisoned. The International Hunter Association had clearly put a ban on those deadly poison pills. Even the usually calm Ares couldn't hold back his anger and shouted, "I'll make you regret this." Magic sparks in his hand, yet it fails to hurt anyone. The person in black sneered that a mage without magic deserves to die, and as a massive fireball formed in his hand, a sudden explosion blew his head right off. Turns out the attacker is actually the giant bear. It just so happens the mage's old spell woke this monster up. The tiny people in black look small as ants standing next to the huge bear. The giant bear roars loudly and knocks down every last person wearing black. As soon as they spotted this, their leader turned and ran away right away. He realizes he made a mistake and decides it's time to back away. After taking out the black-clad group, the giant bear slowly walks toward Ares and Maul. "Can you get him to fall asleep again?" Maul replies that he is now poisoned and his magic is blocked, while Ares says he only expected trouble eventually, but not today, and agrees that she is different. With that, he surges forward. A glowing circle of magic opens up in his hand. Seeing this, Maul shouts, "Come back, you'll die," then coughs up blood as he forces magic through his toxins in agony, wondering if it's working, but by the time he reaches the giant bear's feet, his magic is completely gone. Ahead of him, the giant bear's sharp claws wait, and he whispers, "Maul, I'm sorry." Right as the giant bear's claws reach out, a web of spider silk springs up in front of Ares. They quickly tie up the monster's claws and then wrap around its whole body. The giant bear fights hard but gets tied up like a big dumpling, stops moving, and leaves Ares staring in shock. Sono's trio, the masterminds behind the biggest showstopper of all, hadn't expected their plan to fall into place so smoothly. Ares and Maul instantly step back, guarding themselves against Sono's group. They think these guys are just bandits looking to steal the sword. Even though Sono shouts and tries to explain, Ares and Maul just won't believe him. It wasn't until Shinoda Satoru flashed his ID that the others finally paid attention, as he introduced himself as a hunter from the Island Nation Association who oversees the Rainbow Bridge dungeon. Seeing they've changed their minds, Sano steps up to help, reminding them to heal their wounds first as he hands over 2 mid-level potions. Only then do Ares and Maul finally relax and stop fighting. Suddenly, a bunch of planes zoomed overhead. Great! Someone shouts with relief as new support teams arrive and everyone feels saved, while Hunter Ninnies is still locked in a fierce battle against the dungeon boss. Just as the boss shifts into its dangerous third phase, Hunter Ninnies halts his attack and shouts a warning to dodge the wide shockwave coming his way. With our reinforcements finally here, we need to hold them back so the people can escape, but will we be able to stop the dungeon from collapsing like this? You haven't seen Hunter Ninnies in a long time. A dark mage named Shiroki Masato, powerful enough to be level 503, has just arrived. Hunter Ninnies freezes with a surprised look on his face as he turns to see what's behind him. How are you here? He asks. Shiroki makes no effort to explain and simply lifts his magic staff, causing the power to surge. Suddenly, a massive circle of magic pops up right in front of the boss. Seeing this, Ninnies quickly tells him to stop because if that magic fails, the results will be terrible. Shiroki shows no sign of stopping because worrying about small things gets nothing done, so he shouts dark lightning and drenches the boss in terrifying black bolts that make him scream in agony. Seeing this, Nace yells for everyone to run just as the boss's huge body crashes down. The crash shakes the Rainbow Bridge so hard it swings wildly back and forth. After everything that went wrong, the bridge is now completely destroyed. Sono breathes a sigh of relief that he survived, thinking, I was sure I'd die, but everyone is safe and the vehicle is okay. But Sano jumps when he glances the other way. Suddenly, a line of huge, sharp teeth jumps out. Sano freezes in fear, terrified that even a breath might wake the monster, until Shiroki swoops in, revealing a third-ranked guild emblem on his chest that leaves Sano stunned. Shiroki spots a huge bear tied up nearby. He gently runs his finger over the thin spider silk wrapping him. The silk snaps right away, shredding even the giant bear into thousands of tiny pieces. Sono's jaw drops in sheer disbelief at the scene before her. Then, he hears a system chime and is pulled right to it. Suddenly, a huge level-up message pops up for Sano right before he kills the giant bear. But strangely, he gets no item reward, and Shiroki, standing nearby, hears the same notification. These spider silks were actually made by you, kid, he says, but I accidentally took the giant bear's reward. I had to go back because I hate stealing, but right as Sano arrived, an ace hunter showed up, shocked to see him, and told us we had to leave instantly. She warns that the moment he wakes up, he'll go wild and unleash powerful attacks, leaving Sano confused about why they can't just finish him off while he's knocked out. She shakes her head and says that it can't be done. High-level bosses fight in stages, and you must clear each phase before moving on, because when their health hits 1/3, they unleash powerful ultimate attacks that hit everyone across the entire arena, whether they go into a rage or blast huge areas. Right now, we're stepping into the third phase where the boss builds a shield that soaks up all the magic around it, making any attack useless for now. Right then, the boss's eyes snapped open. It throws its mouth wide open and lets out a roar filled with pure rage. It woke up sooner than anyone thought it would. Shiroki turns to look at Sono and says goodbye, warning him not to blame him if he dies. Then he grabs Nanis and dashes straight to the boss. They dive back into a wild fight, and Sono rushes forward to save everyone. Everyone listen up. The boss has entered his third phase and is about to unleash a massive attack, so we have no time left to run. Everyone's jaw dropped when they heard the news. I have to get the Collegia Dragon Sword right now to beat the boss. Sono says he will promise to give it back later. But Morgan scoffs at that idea, pointing out that even with the sword you just got, you still couldn't beat this ultimate boss, especially since the blade will break after just a few uses. Sano sighs, so it won't work, but Ares jumps in to say that unlocking the trailer seal needs a huge burst of magic, which we can't get because the bandit's poison is still stuck in our blood. That's perfect, I said. Everyone calls me the mobile magic charging station in this dungeon, because I can tap into endless magic whenever I need it. The second my power woke up, magic surged through Ares. The lock on the transport truck snapped open right away. Seeing this, Sono leaped inside while Ares promised to protect us all, with someone reassuring him that the giant bear was only held back, not killed. Is that what moved you? Someone else asked, shaking their head as if women were truly impossible to understand. After I jumped onto the transport vehicle, my heart raced because the Kia Dragon Sword was finally within my reach. Just as I thought I was safe, the bandit from earlier lunged out from behind me with his blade raised, and by the time Sono saw the trouble, it was already too late. The bandit plunged his blade straight into his chest. The moment Sono hopped into the car, the legendary treasure sword was finally his to keep. As the bandit slowly cracked the treasure chest open, he found a pitch-black long sword resting inside. A system message popped up, warning that if you die, the giant spider's silk armor will vanish without a trace. Just as the message said, the spider's silk snapped and the whole transport vehicle plunged into the dark water, sinking deeper and deeper. Are you certain you want to take this object? Just as the killer lunged for the Kessia dragon's sword, Sano snatched his chance to wake up and rise to his feet. He then struck the assassin from behind with one swift stab. I return every act of kindness with kindness, and every act of betrayal with swift revenge. Sano finally got his Kessia dragon sword. He quickly tapped his copy skill to make a duplicate of it. Just as he reached for the object, a warning flashed on the screen saying he didn't meet the level requirements to copy it, leaving him staring in confusion at the message, wondering how this could happen. Since the sword needs level 30 and I'm past level 50, I'm sure I can use it. But right at that moment, another crash happened. The assassin from before wasn't really dead and hacked at Santa, splattering blood everywhere. I nearly made the Blood Tower Guild's assassins look foolish, because without my healing powers, I would have been dead long ago. The sword slipped right back into my grip. Bad luck. I'm the kind who forgets a kindness, but gives back revenge 10 times as big. This is your last shot, he shouted as he drove his sword towards Sono. Damn it. I've come so far, Sono muttered to himself. Suddenly, the Kessia dragon's sword merged with its master. It started copying the sword's power to soak up value. Sono squinted, puzzled by the word absorption that floated before him. However, the system notification wasn't done yet. It kept going, copying Kessia dragon's sword's level, boosting defense by 35%, and absorbing her unique skill, vampirism. She copies Kessia dragon's sword's special skill, then goes berserk to absorb her power. The Kessia dragon sword had given up every single one of its powers. A new notification popped up. Once your health dips below 25%, the Kessia dragon sword will activate its shield and force the berserking skill to kick in. Right now, the Rainbow Bridge boss is about to use its final move. The massive attack launched across the wide battlefield. The situation looked hopeless until suddenly a huge burst of energy erupted from the sea floor and struck the boss straight through. Shiroki and Inesa Hunter stood frozen, staring at the scene with mouths agape and hearts pounding. A system message flashed, announcing that the boss had been defeated. After the dungeon was cleared, the Island Nation Hunter Association later announced that while the Rainbow Bridge outbreak caused massive damage this afternoon at 4 p.m., their hunters arrived quickly to calm the chaos and save lives. The president quickly stopped the video from playing. He yelled at the crowd to stop making faces, while Tiki asked if they had really killed the boss this time, only for Shinoda to chime in that the Rainbow Bridge dungeon was just pacified 3 months ago, with another warning that it could erupt again, which drew a sharp rebuke from someone else for letting the dungeons keep exploding so often, leaving Nain, a hunter sitting quietly on the side, completely uninterested in their arguments. But soon trouble found her, and another voice pressed in, demanding to know the truth. Usually, the toughest bosses need more than 5 months to get back on their feet. Didn't I lie back then when, 3 months ago, there was no way to beat it? Nain, who had no interest in their fighting, suddenly flew into a rage when they started blaming her. With a loud slap, she smashed the conference table flat with just one hand. Before things could turn violent, the leader of the hunter group rushed to calm everyone down, apologized for his staff's bad behavior, and warned that acting like that could easily get you killed. Na finally spoke up when she saw the others wouldn't give in, proving her point with a shockwave from a boss she defeated 3 months ago and pointing to the witness standing right beside her. Na kept going, promising to dig into what caused the outbreak and making sure the Careless Guild pays the price this time. Just then, Moore and Ares walked in and declared that they were from the International Hunter Association with a very important announcement to make. The Kessia dragon's sword has gone missing. Help us get the sword back. A voice from inside asked if they really unlocked the transport vehicle themselves when attacked, but Moore explained that they did it because they accepted our help request, noting that Shinoda Satoru from the Major Guild and Sono from the Hunter Association were there to witness it. The crowd stood silent, stunned by what they just heard. President FUA quickly pulled out his phone to search, but found no information about Sono. Only Nan was the only one who knew who Sono really was. Did Sono truly take the sword for himself? Of course not, because the assassin had already snatched the Kessia dragon sword away. He gave the item to the mastermind, Kurosaki. Gripping that long sword instantly doubles your level by 200%, and its runes on the handle reveal your true identity. To Kurosaki, spending hundreds of millions to trigger the dungeon outbreak was still worth it. The moment the assassin reached for his payment, Kurosaki struck him down. For the fewer people who know the secrets, the safer everyone remains. The Kishia dragon sword took a hit, losing 2 points of its toughness, and now has only 8 left. Kurosaki grinned at the sword in his grip, thinking it would be too boring if it broke before he could fix it, just as Sono jolted awake from his nightmare. A pale blue glow started to shine from the mark on his neck. This hourglass countdown is acting up again. Sono cursed as he saw Sono wake up, while Shinoda Satoru was overjoyed and exclaimed, "I was so afraid you'd never wake up, senior," before adding, "Don't look at that guy like that. He actually saved you." The Great Sage Guild sent out many hunters to track you down, and they finally found you lying unconscious on a beach. Oh, I see. And you likely haven't heard this yet. Turns out Shinoda Satoru is the long-lost son of Great Sage Guild President Shinoda Shiro. Absolutely not. In the president's office of the Hunter Association, someone demanded to know if you truly saw Hunter Sono die with your own eyes. Yes, we saw it with our own eyes, and now that he's back, aren't you surprised? I asked calmly, having seen this show since I became a hunter. Sent a few of our top hunters to help us track down the sword. Then, get Hunter Nanis to work alongside you on this mission. Only a few can wield the Kessia Dragon Sword, which bears secret runes that track a user's power level, and I could feel one being used just an hour ago. Before it was stolen, it was tough as nails, but now it's getting weak, and we have to find it before it vanishes forever. 15 years after the Great Disaster, Ari's mother disappeared without a trace, leaving the Kessia Dragon Sword as the only hint left behind. Turns out, that object is actually a relic from Ares' mother, which is all the info Nice has found so far. But Nice knows for sure that Moore and Ares are keeping some secrets from her. Even Hunter Sano looks like he's hiding a secret right now. Suddenly, Shinoda stepped right up to Nanis. Shiro asked if you were planning to return, noting that the major guilds would welcome you back anytime. Nanis answered that the major guilds need to set up proper management companies instead of just making money from dungeons. After seeing the Rainbow Bridge disaster and discovering management's negligence was to blame, I will hold them accountable. But when Shiro asks why I'm not returning, Nanis says she must stay to handle the association's urgent business. And I just sigh and say, fine. My daughter has grown up and wants to do things, while back at Central Hospital, Sano sat alone on the roof, staring at his info panel. Sano's info panel glowed with a massive total of 276 levels, along with solid skills and a rare profession rank of 9. He realized that while he couldn't duplicate the Kessia Dragon Sword itself, it seemed all its power had simply flowed into him. Berserking is so powerful it can change everything. He checked Berserking's details and found that it doubles every user's stats and level for 1 minute after a day-long wait, kicking in automatically whenever health drops below 25%. He remembered it taking down a boss who was stronger than level 400 at the time. The boss finally took a beating and was knocked out. He finally got the prize for beating the dungeon. He also picked up the boss skill Shockwave, and his sea control ability grew even stronger. The Shockwave skill vanished and instantly turned into 2 brand new abilities, Inherent Vibration and Inherent Wave. His huge footstep skill also leveled up to 2. Now that he wields the giant foot spider, he can cast his wave spell and drink blood at the same time. As Sono stepped out of the elevator with a scary grin that made everyone tremble, a little girl whispered that he looked like he was having an episode, right before a familiar voice called out to him, saying they were glad he was okay. Then he heard the voice ask, "Didn't I tell you to run away immediately when there's danger?" As Sono quietly moved closer, wondering who Hunter Nay was visiting at the hospital. "Sister, I'm sorry I made you worry," a voice said, and Nani and Shinoda Satoru were revealed to be siblings, leaving Sono's jaw dropped in shock. After chatting for a bit, Hunter Nani asked where Sono was, causing him to instantly hide and worry that they had found out he stole the sword using the Hunter Association's name. "I have to slip out quietly before anyone sees me." But Moore caught him red-handed and shouted, "Thief, where are you running?" Sono thought to himself, realizing there seemed to be no way out. Moore yanked Sono by his collar and slammed him into the wall, furious that he dared to lie about being from the Hunter Association. Moore just wouldn't believe it, no matter how hard he tried to explain. "We watch you die, yet here you stand again. So how can you claim you aren't standing with those bad guys?" Moore pulled out his long sword and got ready to use his special move. Ares rushed forward to put a stop to him. Moore's anger had completely taken over, and he swung his sword down to pierce Sono. Right before the blade could strike Sono, his own special ability started to vibrate and save him. Light erupted from Sono's fingertips. The instant it brushed the blade, Moore's long sword snapped as if it were made of glass. Moore stood frozen, unable to believe his weapon fell apart right before his eyes. Right then, the siblings followed the noise and saw everything happen. They realized that was the Rainbow Bridge boss's shockwave, and now they wondered if he was the one who actually killed him. 15 years ago, disasters hit the whole world at once, and huge monsters burst from dungeons to flood the cities, turning them into hell and attacking many citizens. Amidst the ruins, Erida met a strange traveler from another world who gave her a special power. At first, Erida just thought her new hunter powers were a weird but cool trick she'd found. Her talent worked just like a computer command, letting her fix anything back to how it first was. Healing hurts, and fixing broken things can take all sorts of shapes. Erida used her power to fix broken items and earn cash, sometimes even healing the injured, but she felt she needed far more money since her parents were still in a deep sleep from the disaster. Erida fought to fix them with her magic, but it drained her so fast that she could only heal small wounds when her power ran low. Only the hunters could drink the magic power straight into their own souls. To get what she needed, Erida joined a hunter team to handle their supplies and heal them when they got hurt. Being an ordinary person without awakening powers was like walking into a lion's den with no weapons, constantly in danger, just trying to grab a bit of magic. Even so, her friends often made fun of her. In the middle of a deadly raid, their team took heavy hits and almost everyone died, leaving only the badly wounded Erida alive who, seeing her teammates on their last breaths, chose not to heal them. Instead, she gathered the gear they dropped and shouted, "I'm tired of this life." Just then, a man popped up right in front of Erida and said, "I heard you need magic power. Make a deal with me. I'm Kurosaki," he said, and with those words, Erida vanished and soon joined the idol group. One person said, "I truly envy you for eating such tasty food 3 times a day and still keeping your figure so perfect. What a blessing. I still remember the first time I saw you," Kurosaki said, "when you ignored a dying guy to just grab his gear. That's when I realized we were cut from the same cloth." Kurosaki added, "To avoid any mix-ups, let me be clear. As long as this contract is in place, I won't meddle in whatever you do." Erida wondered why you suddenly wanted him to go into the dark dungeon with you this time. Kurosaki pulled out the Klesia dragon sword and explained that fixing it and using his power to restore it would require a huge amount of magic. "I promise this is the final time I'll beg you to head down into the dark dungeon." Hearing this, Artisara's excitement skyrocketed. She asked, "Are you saying that dungeon holds the key to endless item generation?" "Yes, we found it," and Kurosaki confirmed. "So even though our deal says to keep you out of dungeons, you have to come with me this time, and I promise it will be the last time before Sono and his group arrive at the Future Guild headquarters to meet Shiroki, the person NASA mentioned. Even though the Future Guild is the country's second largest and has a shady reputation, their dungeon tricks, bossing, and spy work are still top-notch." Shiroki walked into the office to meet them, knowing from the Future Guild's investigation that the Blood Tower was a very mysterious organization. They've just turned their attention to the Gargoyle Snow Mountain dungeon. 15 years ago, explorers found this dark dungeon that no one has ever beaten, and it holds the scary title of the world's hardest challenge with only 2 brave teams and 1 gathering group ever trying to get through it, all while hiding a giant gargoyle boss waiting to strike. Beating this boss reportedly unlocks a secret prize called the Giant's Heart, also known as Infinite Generation. Though I don't need the Infinite Generation, it is certainly a powerful item. But why are they talking about the Klesia dragon sword? Are they hoping to use it to slay the dungeon boss? To clear the dungeon, they're quietly posting a secret ad on the Dark Silk looking for 30 elite gargoyle warriors, level 90 or higher, to join their team led by the Blood Tower Guild. Their actions are truly wicked, as they secretly kill dungeon teams and steal their treasures, making this guild a place of deep darkness. At that moment, NASA stepped forward and asked, "Since you already have this Giant's Heart project, are you planning to lead a team to clear Gargoyle Snow Mountain yourself?" "We have to move right now," he said, turning to Shiroki and asking if any strategy team could be ready to go instantly. Shiroki muttered to himself, cursing how that woman had dragged him along against his will. Even though he didn't want to, he led his team, including Sono and the rest, up to the snowy mountain. Inside Gargoyle Snow Mountain, they ran into countless rock giants, level 40 monsters with weak punches but endless numbers that could rise again as long as their cores stayed whole. "I truly hated stepping into this nightmare," Shiroki grumbled as he lifted his magic staff, summoning a horde of gargoyles that darted into the air and swarmed toward the center the moment his dark power surged. "Explode!" he shouted. In the next blink, a huge boom shattered everything, turning the stone guardians into piles of dust. Once the area was clear, he looked back at his team and said, "Remember to smash any cores that drop down." The Future Guild hunters instantly relaxed, knowing their captain was on the job. As a team member cheered, "It's so easy. while Shiroki used his dark magic to keep clearing out monsters just like that. I watched it all from afar, stunned to see him go from being so stubborn to the most excited person in the room. Aries found that this dungeon follows the pattern of an inductive type. Most dungeons are split into zones, but if you know the paths well, you can skip around them and jump straight to the final boss. In these inductive dungeons, you have to clear every room in order, or else those hidden spots will never show up if you stumble and fail halfway through. That means we have to knock out a set number of gargoyles right here before the boss shows up in the hidden area, and we'd better be fast because if the key to that area is our reward, we need to grab it before the Blood Tower Guild gets there. Sano didn't care about any hidden boss because he only came here to help Ares get back the Kia Dragon Sword. Sano flipped switch number 5, which caused giant spiders made of silk to burst out. The moment the spider silk wrapped around the gargoyles, the wave surged and shattered them into pieces, letting him strike a cool pose because real men never turn around when things blow up. Just then, Ares blasted ice magic that froze all the gargoyles in their tracks instantly. With more sharp strikes, they easily beat those monsters down. But those creepy stone guardians were still causing lots of trouble. Even so, a few hunters lagged behind and got badly hurt. Luckily, Nanny showed up just in time to slice off a gargoyle's arm with one hit, then blasted it into dust with a powerful shock wave from her palm. Nana then turned to check if the hunters had gotten hurt. Then, she caught sight of a face she knew right there in the crowd. Shinoda Satoru, why are you here? It was her younger brother, Shinoda Satoru. He quickly shot back. Why can't I be here? I'm an official member here to support Sono Senpai. And Nana fired right back. What kind of nonsense is that? It turned out that when Sono asked to plan the dungeon run, Shinoda Satoru threw a tantrum to join in, crying he needed to help guide his senpai, so he wouldn't get lost again, and Sono was too helpless to refuse. But there's one condition, Sono said. You can only come if you join my team. As the words sank in, a sharp headache bloomed behind Nice eyes, making her wonder why two low-level hunters would ever dare to form a rookie team together. But Shinoda Satoru instantly jumped to Sono's defense, insisting that we don't underestimate the senior, since he personally watched him split the Rainbow Bridge dungeon boss in half. Nana remembered the strange signs from the last few days and admitted it could be true, yet she still couldn't figure out how he did it, while the Blood Tower Guild on the other side of the dungeon was quickly wiping out the gargoyles. Kurosaki and Erida's Sarah rested by the cave mouth, with Kurosaki sighing, "We don't need to join this big crowd hunt. We just use our stealth skills to hide among the strategy group." But Erida's Sarah warned that high-level hunters are still a danger we must be careful of. Their eyes were sharp enough to spot everything. But Kurosaki turned to Erida and asked, "How's your magic absorption coming along?" "This is a top-tier magic transmitter," Erida's Sarah explained, noting its high price tag and the task ahead. "You must slay 100 weak monsters just to fill it up. In the last dungeon, I used 10 of these to start an outbreak, but fixing the Kessia Dragon Sword will take about twice as many," she said. Erida's Sarah asked, "So you want to restore this sword to smash the hidden boss?" She added, "The only thing strong enough to break the dungeon's powerful barrier is the legendary Kessia Dragon Sword." She leaned in and asked, "I wonder where you found out about this." But Kurosaki had no intention of answering, stating firmly, "You just need to restore what I want. Don't worry too much about the details." Erida's Sarah thought to herself, "Your eyes are so scary." She silently resolved, "As long as this contract exists, I don't care what Kurosaki does. As long as I can get enough magic power to restore my parents, I'm willing to do anything." Last night, after they defeated about 200 gargoyles, a mutation occurred. The ground began to crack and countless gargoyle fragments flew forward. A terrifying monster stared at them from the darkness. Out of nowhere, a massive beast known as the Curveball, a gargoyle snow mountain boss at level 150, suddenly appeared before everyone. The boss stretched out its huge hand toward them. "Damn it," someone cursed as the boss loomed too large. But Kurosaki stepped up to strike it down with dark magic, shattering the giant into pieces instantly. "Wow," someone shouted, watching as he finished it all in a single bite. The scattered pieces around it instantly rushed toward the middle. The two hunters standing nearby went cold with fear. By now, the boss was feeling pretty much like himself again. Oh no! Kurosaki quickly cast dark magic again, shattering the spell all over once more. But even so, the heart of it stayed whole. Right then, Sono saw his chance and used the giant spider silk to strike straight at the core. Incredible strands of spider silk were winding their way toward it, but their speed and strength weren't enough to stop the boss from healing. The boss suddenly felt like he had even more power. Damn it! Someone cast a curse, and every time the damage heals, it pulls in the broken pieces around it to fix itself. We have to come up with something quick. Just then, Nene swung her spear wreathed in hellfire and rushed straight at the boss. But nothing changed at all. Damn it, we can't melt through to its core. I knew it, so don't let that boss trick you. It puts on an air of superiority. Truth is, that middle boss remains the biggest headache of the whole dungeon raid. You unlock this monster by smashing enough gargoyles, but it can fix itself using their broken pieces, which makes these tricky dungeons so scary. Most normal hunter groups would have either run away in terror or been totally destroyed, because this monster is as dangerous as the final boss in many ordinary dungeons. There are only two ways to beat it. You'll have to smash its heart or melt every piece of gargoyle debris it uses to fix itself, and either way, it's a huge job. Nanis was already drenched in sweat after only a few hits. Just as Nanny spun on pure willpower to blast the rubble away with hellfire, her boss appeared right behind her, while Sono watched nervously from the side, knowing his Kishia dragon sword could fix this easily, but fearing it would give Ares and the others away. Then, Sono had a brilliant idea. He reached into his storage and pulled out the giant bear's foot, a powerful item he'd found earlier that could seize any object and tear it apart. As soon as Sono grabbed Control 5, he unlocked two new powers. His spider silk became incredibly strong, and he could dive into someone's body to steal 15% of their health and magic. Sono rushed straight at the boss without a second thought, finally seeing his chance. Meanwhile, Nanny's was frantically trying to melt away the broken pieces of the gargoyle. Even a mighty hunter like Nanny's couldn't keep channeling hellfire forever, and if she did, she'd be in grave danger. Just as Nanny's was about to give up, the boss reached out its giant hand to grab her, but right then, a web of spider silk shot out and wrapped the boss up like a mummy, saving her at the last second. Everyone stood frozen, eyes wide as the scene played out right before them. Sano shouted urgently at Shiroki, begging for another strike. He had to hold back the core, while Shiroki made his move. Shiroki didn't hesitate a second, and the dark magic surged to life instantly. The boss felt like he had been broken into 1,000 pieces again. As soon as the core showed up, hundreds of spider silk threads instantly wrapped around it and sealed it tight. That wall cut off the core from the swirling debris around it, and the job was done. Shiosaki stared in disbelief, realizing they had managed to trap a powerful boss using nothing but weak items. A roar of excitement rose from the crowd as they all watched the amazing scene unfold. Not far from the fight, Kurosaki and Eridicera were watching, waiting to jump in and grab the spoils. But when Sano suddenly whipped out spider silk, it totally threw their plan into chaos. Eridicera commanded everyone to stop gathering magic, push the plan forward, and get ready for battle. The moment came. Every hunter hiding in the Blood Tower sprang into action. That strange guy turned everything upside down, making the core impossible to grab from afar, so I'll have to jump in and handle it myself. They all looked at you and agreed that since you took the core, it was your duty to destroy it. Sano couldn't say no because he really needed that reward. With a single fast swing of the sword, the core broke apart, and the moving gargoyle was finally defeated. Suddenly, a deafening chorus of level-up chimes erupted for everyone to hear. The system buzzed to confirm that you shattered the gargoyle's core, earning you the key needed to unlock the dark door and finally open the giant's sealed heart. In that same breath, you found yourself holding the key to a secret place. Sano's power surged from level 85 to 285, while his skills and job skills shot up to levels 5 and 10. Sano let out a triumphant laugh, thrilled to realize that the sword's power had lifted him to level 285, leaving only 15 more steps between him and a legendary rank of Advanced Hunter. Behind him, Shiosaki watched in total confusion, not knowing what was happening. He scoffed. Who would be happy to just help a level 85 rookie catch the boss? Can you believe it? Would I, a master hunter, ever help a newbie? You must be hallucinating. Suddenly, giant black pillars burst up from the ground. Everyone stood there, puzzled and unsure of what was happening. More black pillars, just like them, kept popping up all around. Mysterious symbols were carved all over the ancient pillars. Everyone was told to run, but it was already too late. The space between the stone pillars suddenly blew up with a fierce explosion. The blast knocked all the nearby hunters off their feet. Once the explosion cleared, the future guild hunters were left badly hurt. Out of the smoke and dust, a figure stepped forward and said, "In this world, there's nothing money can't buy if you're willing to throw your conscience away, because then winning is easy," before adding, "I've found you," and ordering, "Break the king giant foot orb's web," which started to fade away as he flew out to see the masked man holding the Kessia dragon sword. Sono instantly lifted his sword, rushed forward, and shouted, "Hand over the sword." But his attack bounced right off like an egg hitting a rock. The masked man chuckled and said, "You're quite clever," adding that not only did you use the web to defeat the boss, but you also survived the explosion's blast. "You've completely ruined my plan," he shouted and brought his sword down at Sano. The sword slashed down hard, hitting the ground with a vicious crack. "Bastard! Stop it!" Nanai yelled, her heart pounding as she watched the scene with growing fear. With her mind completely gone, she thrust her spear forward and unleashed her most powerful move, Hell's Fuse. Right then, Air saw her acting all wrong and frantically tried to pull her back, but was already too late. A scary stream of hellfire flew straight at Kurosaki. When the smoke cleared, everyone gasped to find Nana badly hurt instead. Seeing this, Shiosaki let out a panicked shout. Just as Ares stepped in to stop Master Shiosaki from using magic, he warned that the toxic gas from the explosion had ruined the air, making it impossible to draw magic power, a clever trick often played by the Blood Tower Guild. Suddenly, the ground started oozing out a thick black liquid. Then Kurosaki popped back up right in front of everyone, looking just fine and not even a scratch on him. "This can't be," someone cried out. "It's shadow movement," Kurosaki said as he stepped closer to the dying Sono. "That guy can actually use the highest level skill in the stealth system." He spotted the boss key right there on the ground. As he picked it up, the key that could finally close his heart slipped into his hands. Kurosaki thought his goal was met, but he had no plans to walk away. He grabbed Sono's neck and slammed him hard into a nearby stone pillar. "This guy has to die right here," Kurosaki snarled. "I feel exactly the same way you do. I never thought the thief of my sword would be as rotten as you," he muttered before quietly activating his web skill, instantly wrapping Kurosaki in a thick, sticky net that left him completely trapped. Then, he used the king's giant web to activate the bear's chain attack. Then, the webs turned into sharp spikes and wound together tightly to make a huge, garlic-shaped bulb. "You stole my sword, and now, this is the price you must pay." But as the web faded away, Sono was stunned to find nothing left inside. Just then, Kurosaki appeared from behind me, catching me off guard with a skill so powerful that I would have died without my shadows inside me to save me. He stood ready to strike Sono down. "Have you ever heard the name I go by? Everyone used to call me the moving magic charging station, and even though this is my first real test, I'm sure everything will work out just fine." "Did you mean those to be your very last words? If so, then good night." Suddenly, Kurosaki felt an endless well of magic surging through him, and even though he didn't know why, it felt perfect as he prepared to bring down the Blood Tower Guild. Suddenly, a giant ball of light squeezed itself out of the air. Kurosaki stared in shock as his wide-area magic suddenly appeared. His shadow moves were blocked, and he was forced to open every box around Sarah to save her. Magic swirled out of the boxes and squeezed together into one giant glowing ball hanging in the air. A command shouted to reset the gargoyle snow maze, and suddenly the mountain roared with fierce winds that filled the air with terrifying gusts. But Kurosaki quickly raised a shield to keep everyone safe. With the air howling around them, pieces of broken gargoyle slowly came together to form new ones that had awakened, filling the maze with a fresh, overwhelming swarm. The huge gargoyle smashed its fist down and popped right in front of Kurosaki. But damn it, the lingering poison gas is still messing with his ability to use magic. "I have to build a wall to keep everyone safe, but that means I can't fight off the gargoyles, and hiding behind it will only get us all killed." While Kurosaki fought hard, Nanis rushed in and blasted the gargoyle straight with a fierce wave of hellfire. Kurosaki was stunned, staring at Hunter Nanis, and asking how she could still use magic power after hearing what Sono had just said. A magical charging station that never runs out of power and shares its endless energy with your friends. They say this is Sono's special ability. That's impossible, for only mage-type hunters can do such things, and Sono is definitely not one of them. Super high-level hunters like me and Nanis need huge bursts of magic to use our skills, and it's not just me since he just instantly refilled the magic power for everyone present. I've never heard of a skill that just endlessly creates magic, so if it's real, we should stop hunting for the giant's heart and just invite that person to join our guild. I never thought the Blood Tower Guild could build mazes, which explains why the Rainbow Bridge kept falling apart so quickly. Now the real puzzle is figuring out how many times they can pull off this trick before it runs out. I don't think they can use it again anytime soon, because we haven't found the hidden maze yet, so there must be some secret rule we don't know about. They must have cast a spell to summon the hidden maze with certainty, yet it still feels odd since far fewer gargoyles guard this place than the original Snow Mountain did. Anyway, we gotta rush to take out these guys, so we can catch up to the Blood Tower Guild. But what about Hunter Sono? I'm hoping he made it through the danger. Meanwhile, deep in a quiet corner of Snow Mountain, Sono slowly crawled out of the sticky web ball. That damn bastard actually pulled off the Kishia Dragon Sword's move right at the very last second. Luckily, I just got wrapped in webs right when it mattered most. I was almost dead, but thanks to him, I finally learned how to unlock the sword's true power. Speaking of the bright white place, I'm not sure which path to take, but don't worry at the Hunter Association in the Island Nation, because President Shinoda is there with President Shiosaki from the Future Guild. Joining the Blood Tower Guild is always a huge risk, and we still don't know much about that mysterious guy. We just got a message. It looks like the Blood Tower Guild and the Star Stadium Guild are secretly linked. How was that even possible? Are you certain you mean the World-Ass Hunter Guild at Star Stadium? That maze was built during the chaotic riots that followed the great disaster 15 years ago. The gargoyles that scuttled out of the shadows back then were far more terrifying than any demon from hell. The world's most powerful mage, Hunter Nishimoto Tomoka, sealed them away with his own life, because without that sacrifice, nothing would have been safe. The giant's heart, trapped inside a secret maze, has finally caught the world's eye. Since both the Star Stadium Guild and the Blood Tower Guild will stop at nothing to win, it makes sense they clash, especially given that Ares from the International Hunter Association is actually Hunter Nishimoto's daughter. This time, she thinks she knows the truth about her mother's death, but maybe Hunter Nishimoto isn't really gone yet. You stare in shock, wondering if after all this time, she could somehow still be breathing. 5 years back, a survivor truly escaped the maze, claiming he thought he saw Hunter Nishimoto's shadow. The other two were hit with instant shock. It's a fascinating twist that the secret maze has multiple ways in. Suddenly, someone crashed through the door and shouted, "President, it's awful." The maze just turned red. As soon as they could, they flipped the switch and turned on the TV. The screen was a mess of total chaos. Suddenly, the city center turned into a maze of chaos as crowds ran for their lives from snow mountain gargoyles that had just appeared out of nowhere. Deep in the snow mountain, the Blood Tower Guild members kept moving forward steadily. This is the first time I've seen Mr. Kurosaki hurt, and now I'm worried our plan might fall apart. That's something you don't need to worry about. Soon, everyone reached the secret maze hidden deep inside Gargoyle Snow Mountain. Shinoda Satoru used a stealth to sneak quietly right behind them. So we finally reached this secret spot. The Blood Tower Guild members walked up to the maze entrance, only to find themselves stopped dead by a wall you couldn't see. "Boss, we're stuck here and can't get through because the way is blocked." The Star Stadium Guild really lives up to its world-class reputation, and the details they shared were spot on. This artwork belongs to Nishimoto Tomoka, the mightiest mage hunter from 15 years ago. The giant's heart is locked away inside this secret maze. Everyone, get ready to crack the seal, stay sharp, and see the Blood Tower Guild members vanish in a flash to take their positions. Arida began preparing the sword for its repair. Just then, Kurosaki felt like someone was creeping right behind him. Who would be so crazy to sneak around and chase the Blood Tower Guild? Shinoda Satoru's heart pounded in fear, wondering if his secret was out and dreading the thought of death. In the blink of an eye, Kurosaki brought his sword down in a swift slash. Meanwhile, over on the snowy side, a cute little stone was hunting. It stumbled upon a snow mountain berserk rabbit, a hungry level 30 beast that guards hidden mazes and shatters into a red magic stone with just one hit. Little Stone dashed to pick it up and then hurried back to its master. It turned out the master was Sono, who shouted, "Well done, eat it," as Little Stone quickly tossed the magic stone into his mouth and began chewing. This tiny stone, forged from the heart of a fallen boss called the Moving Gargoyle, could be infused with magic to bring a new gargoyle to life that can change its shape at will, wear armor to protect its owner, and share the owner's sight and sound with the range growing as the stone gets stronger. Sono looked up with pride at the glowing core in his hand, thinking, "This is amazing. One single core for each of my stone guardians. If I could just make many copies of these, I have my own army to tackle mazes all by myself," he thought. When a snow mountain gargoyle reaches level 10, it can shift its form at will and feel everything its master feels. Just then, Little Stone felt someone coming closer and zoomed right over to greet them. It just so happened that the new arrival was Shinoda Satoru. Shinoda Satoru spotted Sano and threw his arms around him, shouting, "I thought I'd never see you again. The moment I knew the Blood Tower Guild had found the hidden maze, my first thought was of you. My heart was pounding with fear until I realized they hadn't found me, but instead stumbled upon a different stalker who might just become a new guild member. A girl with them gathers a lot of magic power and starts a ritual to bring the maze to life. I hesitated to stop her because fear held me back, and though Shinoda apologized for the trouble, Sano reassured her that she had already done her part well. As they spoke, Shinoda noticed that a certain girl looked strangely familiar, and he also wondered aloud if that strange thing following them could stay with them. Sono chuckled, then remembered to introduce you to his little sidekick. "This was so cute," Shinoda exclaimed, and I couldn't believe that Senior Sano was also a familiar controller. Soon they reached the bridge where the hidden maze waited, and Sano knew facing the Blood Tower Guild would be a hard fight for just the two of them. Sano barked orders at Shinoda Satoru, commanding him to fetch Nanis and Shirasaki right away. I'll stay here to watch them, but Shinoda Satoru felt disappointed right away because he'd have to say goodbye to Senior Sano so soon. Sano gave Shinoda Satoru the core from the moving gargoyle to keep him safe. From now on, he's your little brother, but don't let his small size trick you because he is a powerful warrior in battle. Shinoda Satoru was so touched by the offer that he almost cried, asking if it was truly possible to receive something so precious, only to hear Sono casually reply that she had an endless supply of them, so he happily left with the core and his little gargoyle. As they vanished, Sono quickly grabbed a fresh core. He stood ready to carve a brand new gargoyle, giving it the exact look he had pictured in his mind. Soon, the bird-like gargoyle was finally finished. By sharing their senses, Sano could clearly see Kurosaki and the others right there. He watched Aratesa grip the Kisha dragon sword. Magic power kept spilling out of the boxes around her. She used her control to bring the Kisha dragon sword back to a strong, usable state. Right then, the sword was barely holding on with just 6% of its strength left. The numbers whizzed by so fast that they finally stopped right at 100%. The Katia dragon sword was fixed and ready to use again. But using that power drained all of Aratesara's strength in an instant. "That's enough," Kurosaki shouted, snatching the sword from the ground with eager hands, ready to finally swing it as much as he wanted. Sano couldn't believe his eyes, wondering how she managed to fix the sword's broken strength. Could she be a cursed ability user, just like him? With all he knew, her special power could fix everything back to how it started. Sano figured he could copy skills, but they were often too broken to use, so he secretly decided he must team up with Artisara first. Kurosaki gripped the blade tight, ready to smash the seal. He slowly pushed the sword tip through the barrier. Right away, the heavy seal chains started banging against each other with a loud clatter. In the blink of an eye, a massive glowing circle erupted beneath Kurosaki's feet. Kurosaki said, "Even with this key, we couldn't break through the barrier without the Star Stadium Guild's help." He slipped the sword right into the heart of the glowing circle. This sword is the only thing that can break the seal. This seal, crafted 15 years ago by the artist Hunter Nishimoto, was her masterpiece that only her husband Frederick Shu, the world's greatest sword master, could break with his legendary Kishia dragon sword. Kurosaki turned his sword a full 90 degrees. Right away, the magic circle started to change as a bright white glow spread out from its middle. The air exploded with such force that the floating gargoyles broke into pieces. They just couldn't stand against it. Slowly, the barrier's strength faded away until it vanished completely, finally showing the real entrance to the secret maze. After 15 long years, the secret maze hidden inside Gargoyle Snow Mountain had finally shown itself again. "It's time to find the giant's heart," Kurosaki said, and while Sono watched him, he wrestled with the hard choice of whether to charge in alone or wait for backup, knowing it was a dangerous gamble. Then a new scene appeared in the southern S-rank maze. Bodies were scattered everywhere, yet one man stood whole, and he asked the man on the ground, "Your target was only me, wasn't it? Why did you kill them all?" The standing man asked. "If I only kill you, I become a murderer, but if I wipe out everyone, it looks like an accident in this maze." In the next second, the man on the ground vanished into a pool of blood, and as Control Ace skill user died, his power instantly passed to the next person who could use it. By taking the life of the other man, the one standing there now held his cursed power. Suddenly, he felt a sharp pain shoot through his neck. 3 hourglass-shaped marks appeared on the man's neck, with the red one looking brand new. He instantly felt the power he had just gained surging through him. He pressed Ctrl+A to highlight everything, and instantly blue arrows popped up above each dismembered body. Then the control cut kicked in and took them all down. In the blink of an eye, a huge black hole tore open and swallowed everything around him, only for an elf to suddenly pop up behind him and say, "Your skill has evolved. Instead of erasing targets one by one, its range has clearly grown much bigger." The man said that killing someone is the only way to steal their cursed powers, which really upsets him, especially since even after learning this skill, it still won't grow stronger. Sadly, this is the only path to stealing someone else's dark power, unless you can locate the secret Control-C. The elf shook his head sadly, saying, "We've hunted for Control-C for over 10 years with no sign of it, and now I'm not sure if it ever really exists. He really is here among us." The man insisted, pointing out that F guy was already looking for him, so we should expect news any moment now. The elf explained that Control H is now with the Blood Tower Guild and has likely already broken through Hunter Nishimoto's barrier. So while Control C is important, you must get the giant's heart at all costs. This is a vital thing that will let you fully unleash the power of your curse. Deep inside the secret maze, the team gathered back together to keep moving forward. I looked all around, but there wasn't a single sign of an enemy anywhere. There were no monsters left, and it was obvious that their targets had vanished long ago. They realized they needed to speed up and close the gap. Suddenly, Shinoda Satoru's feet started to shine with bright light. "Oh no, it's a magic circle," someone cried out. Just like that, everyone in the circle vanished, leaving Sono staring in shock as Nanis, and he frantically ran to the empty spot. Suddenly, a huge glowing magic circle burst onto the ground in a brilliant flash, whisking them away in an instant. They touched down in a strange new place, but Shinoda Sato and Shiosaki had vanished, leaving us baffled since we were right behind them the whole way. Just then, a giant monster swooped down to eat Sono, but Nanny's moved fast, slashed her sword, cut the beast's head off, and saved the day right away. Why do dinosaur-like monsters exist here, making us feel like we've been thrown into a totally different world? Someone thought it might be a multidimensional maze, but I said that's impossible because all of those were destroyed in the Great Disaster 15 years ago, and another person argued back. But how else could you explain what's happening right before our eyes? The third person asked, noting that teleportation magic circles clearly mark the path through a maze stretching across many worlds. When a circle is lit, it builds a bridge between worlds and swings a door wide open to let us step into another reality. They wondered if that was why Hunter Nishimoto sealed the place, sending Shinoda Satoru and Shiroki to another world. To find our friends again, we have to get through this maze and find the giant's heart. Then they shouted, "Let's begin!" As the battle begins, chaos erupts in the city center outside the maze, where it turns red as swarms of gargoyles tear through the urban area. As citizens ran in terror to save their lives, the hunters could only barely hold their ground. But as long as the gargoyles' hearts stayed whole, it could come back to life over and over again. But with magic working differently in the maze than in the real world, big spells failed to work, leaving mages far too weak to fight. Damn that left eye. It's never there when you need it most. If we had that endless magic power skill, this fight would be easy enough to eat. Just as the bald warrior was about to fall, a bright flash of sword light suddenly appeared. The blond man swung his blade once and cut the gargoyle right in half. Why? Because he'd caught them talking. He asked about that endless magic power they talked about, and the bald warrior happily shared all he knew to pay it back. I had never seen a talent like that before. Could it really be him? Then suddenly, two huge bursts of magical power erupted above the association building's rooftop. It was the leaders of the two biggest groups on the island. A massive stone gargoyle was coming right at them. It's up to us to act now, or else the situation will only get worse. So Takeuchi immediately leaped down and activated his stone armor. Suddenly, Stone rushed over Takeuchi, burying him completely from head to toe. After a huge crash, the changed Takeuchi walked out of the smoke. By then, the gargoyle was already there. With a single light punch, Takeuchi broke it apart. Then he sprinted ahead with unstoppable force, crashing right toward them. Sure not Shiro didn't wait, either. He dove right in and unleashed a magical storm. A burst of brilliant magic hit the ground and cleared a way for Takeuchi to rush straight to the boss. The boss swung his giant fist at Takeuchi, but Takeuchi stood his ground and took the hit without moving. Instead, he thrust his fist forward to clash with hers, muttering, one punch, then two, until the boss's body began to crack. In the next instant, it exploded into pieces and showed off the red core inside as he shouted, "That old man isn't taking the boss for himself." With that, he smashed the core into a fine powder. The chaotic riot inside the maze was finally brought under control. But even as they celebrated, that same blonde man had already quietly gathered some useful information. Just look for Go, because you won't need to press any special keys to find it. He's truly the perfect leader for this island nation, calming the chaotic maze riot in just a few minutes. Even without pressing any control keys, we still gathered some helpful information. I still think Control Plus is hiding somewhere in that maze, and I'm hoping he's okay. While the Blood Tower Guild members dove into the hidden maze to grab the giant's heart, they were suddenly swarmed by a horde of zombies. It was a shame they were all just small fish next to that legendary sword. Kurosaki swung his sword once to clear the monsters, then led the way toward the giant puppet's boss room. Suddenly, a brilliant white glow shot up from everyone's feet. In the blink of an eye, they stood before a massive stone door. Kurosaki quickly grabbed the key he had taken before and slid it right into the lock. As the door swung open, everyone stepped inside. Huge statues lined the walls of the room, but there was no boss to be found anywhere. Yet, only Aratesara felt a crushing weight press down on her chest, making it hard to draw breath. Maybe it's because I don't hunt. Before anyone could even ask what was happening, Giant Hand crashed down with a loud, painful thud. Poor guy got squished flat until he was just a lump of meat mush. Suddenly, one of the statues started to move and stood right there in front of them. Damn it, the statue started moving, so everyone had to be careful, but it was already too late. The statues around them had already come alive, forming a circle of stone soldiers that trapped the Blood Tower guild members. Aratesara stood still, completely stunned by the sudden change. Kurosaki's anger flared instantly, and he shouted, "What are you standing there for? Use your healing power right now to save our fallen friend." Aratesara finally understood that she was the one who healed the team. She hurried over, grabbing the magic tools from her backpack, only to find that the power inside them was leaking out. But how was this possible, since even the most powerful mages couldn't break the seals on those devices? But why was all that magic power rushing in just one direction? The Blood Tower guild fighters were already clashing with the stone giants, but they were getting crushed. Kurosaki screamed for his team to lay down landmines, but it was useless because his stealth skills and the traps simply wouldn't work. One of the statues was hit with a solid thud. Kurosaki's eyes went wide with shock. His partner had just fallen in battle. Before you could blink, every single member of the Blood Tower guild was gone. You gotta be kidding me. How is this even possible? You damn stones. Kurosaki lifted his sword, bracing himself to unleash a mighty move. Suddenly, a pop-up appeared to say that the user doesn't have enough magic power to unleash the Kishia Dragon Sword skill. The notification left him stunned, and as Kurosaki stood there in confusion, the statue's attack was already on the way. In the same moment, on the other side, Aratesara chased the flow of magic power all the way to a platform. All the magic power was being sucked into a glowing cube right in the middle. As Aratesara touched the strange object, a giant ruby heart appeared inside, making him wonder if it was the giant's heart and why it was sucking up magic power instead of letting it go. Just then, the giant's heart suddenly gave a jolt. Feeling the danger, Aratesara spun around and bolted, but it was already too late. A red beam shot from the center, cutting right through her middle, and she crashed to the floor in terrible pain. The statue lumbered over, lifted its blade high, and brought it crashing down. Just as the attack came down, Kurosaki moved through the shadows to shield Aratesara in the nick of time. He quickly tossed a powerful healing potion on her wound, lifted her up, and got ready to run away right then. Suddenly, a notification rang out, awakening the giant's heart and signaling that it's time for the boss battle. The door started to creep shut. Kurosaki tried to jump into shadows right away, but a new message stopped him. He didn't have enough magic to use that skill, leaving him confused about where his power went. If it didn't get away, they were already dead. If things keep going this way, they'll both be stuck here. Damn it, there was no other choice. Kurosaki seized Aratesara and hurled her through the exit door with every ounce of his strength. She scraped and slid hard across the floor. Why did you decide to throw away your own safety just to keep me alive? As long as you're breathing, you can fix anything, isn't that right? You idiot. I'm not a hunter, so where would I possibly find that much magical power? As soon as she opened her eyes, she found Sono standing right in front of her. It was this guy who seemed to let others share in his magic. And Sono did just that, pouring her magic power into her nonstop. If you've got enough magic power, you can heal your own injuries, right? Aratesara's eyes went wide with shock as she stared at Sono, wondering how he could possibly know about her secret skill. A few minutes later, the nearly healed Aratesara sat quietly nearby, her hands bound like a prisoner and a healer for the Blood Tower Guild, having bounced back from fatal wounds so fast that we must dig into her past the moment we return. We worked so hard to get here, but now we're stuck because there's no way to open the door from the outside without a key, which means we'll be trapped forever. Is that the reason so many people have vanished? Nearby, Sono wrestled with a worry. He had copied that key, but now he didn't know how to explain it. He figured he'd just make something up. Then, Sono reached into his pocket and pulled out the key. Just then, Ari stepped up and softly placed her hand on the door. Surprisingly, her arm went right through it. The door and Eris's robe both began glowing with the exact same magical symbols. The very next second, the door just swung open. It turned out the robe belonged to Eris's mother, and it hummed to the door until it swung wide open. Nearby, Sono listened in on their chat, and figured out that Ari was the key to the maze, so he knew if he got a chance, he absolutely had to explore this wild, multi-dimensional maze with her. According to what Sarah knew, everyone soon realized their magic power was running out fast. The giant heart kept swallowing it up. Right then, those old statues came back. Sono instantly started casting Control E to copy magic power, then endlessly pasted it onto himself. Suddenly, the screen was flooded with dozens of pop-up boxes showing off amazing skills. Terrifying magic surged from Sono's body and filled the whole room in an instant. Even the giant heart couldn't drink magic fast enough to match how quickly he was making it. Sarah stared at everything happening, completely stunned. She figured that if she mixed her special abilities with his, she might be able to bring her parents back to normal. After Nanis got his magic back, he sprinted straight at the statue. With a single fast cut, he sliced it right down the middle. Shirazaki refused to be beaten, so he lifted his staff and blasted dark magic. A flash of dark lightning struck and instantly shattered the statue right next to it. Suddenly, more statues began to circle around them. Shirazaki felt a surge of excitement and shouted, "Let me use you to shake off my bad mood," before blasting a powerful dark spell that instantly shattered the statues into pieces. Suddenly, Sarah's eyes locked onto Kurosaki. He sat there on the ground, covered in cuts and scrapes, fighting just to stay alive. Just as Sarah was about to step in to help, Sono was already there first. "Sono, I never expected to see you ended up here.